So let's just get into it. This is just going to be about Real Housewives of Potomac, season 10. Now, this season, we're opening up with, we have Karen, who has gone to jail and she's going to be released, and the women are talking about it, and we see, her trial, and like they show her leaving, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, so in episode 1, so we see Stacy and Ashley kind of going at it, and Ashley is like pressing Stacy about her previous relationship, which semi got exposed for allegedly being fake. And Ashley, being so righteous as she is, she's like, I don't like liars. And she wants Stacy basically to come forward and say that she's lying and that she paid this man to be her partner. Given Ashley's track record, she should definitely not be speaking. Because, from Ashley, when she's had her business in dark waters, she's kept it mum. Like, she's been silent. So basically, she doesn't believe Stacy at all. And I don't really know why they're pressing her. Like, just let Stacy be. Like, she hasn't done anything to anybody else, but, Ashley is on the hound for more tea. And now, there's also this issue, or I would say non-issue, with Kiarna and Wendy. And it feels like Kiarna is trying to make an issue with Wendy. I don't know if she's like feeling herself this season, but throughout the episodes, there seems to be like a real problem. From the looks of it, to me, it just seems like Kiarna is, and I hate to use the word needy, because I don't want to say she's like a needy type of person, friendship wise. It's just hard to explain, because it's either there's some sort of jealousy there or envy. There's just something there that she is just seems to be attacking Wendy, and I don't know why, but it's really annoying. Like, it's really getting on my nerves. Like, every time she opens up her mouth, every time she talks, every time she's like trying to explain what the situation is, it's kind of like, you don't have a story here. You don't have an issue. There's nothing going on between you and Wendy. It's either you have an issue with Wendy and you don't like her, and you can just come out and say that. But for you to be making up these stories of like, she didn't say hi to me when I was in the airport, or like she wasn't, as she didn't call me outside of like, us filming, and wasn't like a real friend outside of filming. I'm like, girl, the phone works both ways, right? You can also pick up the phone and say, hey friend, like, I noticed that like we haven't really caught up. We haven't really been to like talking so much. Like, is there anything going on? Or like, I really want us to stay close and be like how it was before. You can open up your mouth and you can say that too, because friendship works both ways. And on top of that, like, you both are grown women. You have a business. Wendy has her businesses. Her husband has his business, and not to mention she has 3 children. Like, she can't be all up under you all the time. That is what your man is for. So it really is just strange, weird to me. I don't know what her flex is with Wendy, but it's a real turn off, because it's giving, I'm really insecure as a friend. It's giving, I need people to hold my hand. I need constant reassurance about myself and who I am and where I stand and my status. Like, she just needs complete hand holding in her friendship. And it's really apparent and annoying. In episode 1 now, we do get to see Stacy's ex-husband. We're not really sure about that because, uh, apparently they said that the documentation of her divorce cannot be found. But that being said, either way, her man, okay? The father of her child. So we actually get to see him. He doesn't look too bad. And honestly, I'm hoping that they get to work it out and that they get to stay together. They look like a very nice couple. As you know, Stacy is quite, um, what is the word to use? Stiff? Is it stiff? I don't know if it's stiff. She's a little unseasoned sometimes. She's not very with it. Like, you can tell that she's very much, she stayed in a bubble, and that she grew up in a bubble, and her bubble was very pageantry. So we'll give her that. Um but yeah, we get to see him and their interaction, and I actually like them together. I can't lie. They look very lovely. So yay for Stacy. And I actually like Stacy. As much of the drama that we love to see on reality TV, um, sometimes just a little bit of just like regular normalcy, and not so much debauchery and, cussing and, tonality, and bad words. What's the word I'm looking for? Not all that cursing. And she holds herself up to a certain standard, and she's standing her ground, in what she calls her truth, because we haven't found out if it's really true. But that is her truth. And so far, I'm just like, you know what? I like Stacy. She's a little bit of a breath of fresh air. So, yay for Stacy, and we get to see her husband, and that's great. Now, we also get a new addition to the group, which is Kiarna's friend. And Kiarna's friend is Angel. Okay, so we find out, also that Kiarna is living apart from her boyfriend for whatever reason. According to her, it's he doesn't like to be filmed, and he's kind of set in his ways. So she has chosen to move out, get her own place, and they're going to continue their relationship. And so I'm assuming he's going to just be on camera every now and then, and not fully as like a boyfriend of the cast member all the time filming together. A little bit strange, but okay, that's what we have so far. So anyway, she introduces her friend Angel. She is married to, I guess, an NFL pro football player. She claims that they have been friends for a very long time, and her and Angel are besties. They all get introduced, I believe, at Ashley's second bloom party. So it's Kiarna's friend Angel, and then we also see Giselle also bringing in a new friend, Tia, and Tia is from the UK, so she has a British accent. I believe she's from England, and I also like Tia. Tia seems like another headstrong kind of like businesswoman. She also says that she's part royalty from Nigeria, which is very nice. So I feel like she would have a little bit of bond with Wendy, as they are both Nigerian, both African. They will understand, they have different cultural differences than the other ladies. But it's nice to see business women being added to the cast. I love a good businesswoman. I love a boss. I love a boss. I love a woman moving, shaking, interacting, and making money, honey. That is what I like to see when I watch reality TV. Okay, black, rich, powerful women. Okay. So I'm glad that she's been added to the cast. Amen. So, anyways, everyone meets up at Ashley's little ball and they get to meet each other. And then, of course, there's that interaction with Kiana and Wendy where Kiana tries to bring up her so-called issues with Wendy. And Wendy's kind of like, huh? Say what now? It's not computing, sweetie, because I don't. And Wendy's like, I don't have a problem with you. Basically telling her, like, listen, I don't have a problem with you. We're good. Like, I don't dislike you. Like, from the last time we've left off, like, I thought we were okay. You know what I mean? And she's literally telling her anything that you have to say, anything that you got a problem with, that's on you. That's coming from you because she's like, I'm good with you. And Kiana's not having it. Kiana is pushing, like to say Wendy's being dismissive. She's not dismissing you. She acknowledged what you said. She basically saying though, she's like, I don't see any of this. So, and I've not tried to make you feel any type of way. So anything that you got going on in your head is in your head. It's in your head, girl. You don't see it. But anyways, that's just was in episode 1. So there's going to be multiple conversations from 1 to 7 of Kiana talking to Wendy. And Wendy's like, I still don't have a problem. What is the problem? And Kiana's not getting it because, Kiana needs her hand held. Kiana needs someone to like literally put her in a swaddle and rock her to sleep and say, woo, 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 woo. It's okay, boo, boo. You are okay. You are loved. You are beautiful. You are strong. We are here for you. Like she needs breast milk. Someone give her a titty. Okay. Okay. And then of course, as we go into episode 2, we learn about Stacy's cannabis business. She's going to have cannabis gummies. And she's basically telling Wendy that, she did her ancestry DNA and that she's also part African. I did say that I like Stacy, but Stacy be reaching. Stacy be reaching. And one thing I want to say about Stacy is she does play this role of like, I don't know what you're talking about. Huh? What happened? What is this? Like she kind of dumbs down her personality a little bit. And sometimes I will say that you got to do that in order to win. She plays it very well, but that will only last for so long, especially if people come with receipts and especially if people are just like, we have the proof. So she's basically telling Wendy, she's like, it's not the same as, like, I'm not trying to copy you. Like, I'm not trying to do the same thing you did. And at the end of the day, sometimes, I don't know why people just can't be honest and be like, listen, I saw how much money you and your husband be making from the cannabis industry, and I divorced my husband, and I need some money, and I would like to make some money, and I've been given an opportunity to come up with these gummies, and it looks extremely profitable. I'm a profitable business, so I'm gonna follow suit. And just, I take cues from that. It's not hard to say. I mean, business is business. And let's be honest, everybody wants a piece of the pie. Everybody. But I will say, as long as she is not, sabotaging other people, trying to cut other people off or out of circles or within her prospects and her business, okay, by all means, eat your pie. Get your pie and eat your pie, sis. There is enough to go around. Okay? That also being said, like, if Wendy does, or someone else on the show does open up another business and she does kind of copy them, it's kind of like, girl, you really got to like think outside the box. Really got to do something, a venture outside. But anyway, so Wendy doesn't take offense to it, because Wendy's taking the high road. Wendy's just kind of like, okay, so you're basically copying me. I understand, but what can I do? You know what I mean? I am the trendsetter. That's basically how her attitude is. I am the trendsetter, and of course you are going to follow me. Look at me. Who wouldn't want to follow and do as I do? So Wendy is taking it as like, all right, cool. She's telling me about her business. She's doing cannabis also. Great for you. Very nice. Then we get to see more about Tia. So we get to explore a little bit into Tia's life. We get to see her children and her husband. Her husband looks fairly young. I'd have to look up to see how old Tia is. Tia's a realtor. She has beautiful children. And we get to see a little bit of her life and what she does. I'm excited for her to actually be a part of this cast because, it looks like she has her own mind and her own opinions, and she's going to judge and interact with the ladies based on her own opinion. And that is what I really like. So we see Giselle interacting with her, talking to her over at her house, and we get to learn some back history about her parents and where they're from. And of course, she also mentions that she's, Nigerian royalty. And I love her British accent. You know what I mean? She brings a little bit of, I don't want to say class. Let me just not say that. She just brings a different air into the group of ladies, and I'm enjoying it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with her going on to the next. I'm hoping that she will be here next season. Let's just say that. And then, of course, then we see Ashley and Ashley's dating life. And of course, she's gone back to that young man that she was dating before. I can't remember his name. I just want to say Ashley's little boy toy. Because now she's officially divorced. She's single and ready to mingle. So she's having fun. So she's got her little, her little boy toy beside her that, they're having a little fun together. Very nice. Then we get a little clip of Angel and her husband at dinner, and they're talking, and they're just talking about them looking for a house in Potomac. Apparently they can't seem to find, what they're looking for in terms of land and housing. So they're on a journey to find their perfect home. Okay, now we trail off into Kiana. Back to Kiana again. And so Giselle's come over to Kiana's house, and she's giving her the tour of where she is, where she lives now, what's happening. And of course we go back to this. She updates her on this drama, no drama with Wendy. But now there's like a new drama. And what transpires basically in this episode is very telling of kind of like her and Angel's relationship. And this is just my perspective of what I see when I'm watching this and what I picked up. I mean, I could be wrong, but like these are just my thoughts and opinions. So she goes on to tell Giselle that she was basically explaining the situation, getting everybody caught up because she had like a little function of like Botox and caviar, and everyone was there supporting her. And just filling the ladies in on what had transpired between her and Wendy. And the thing about that is, as she was talking, her friend Angel had kind of like, stepped in and stood up for Wendy. She made a comment, and, the comment was, kind of defending Wendy. Not even, she just kind of basically just used her common sense and was basically telling Kierna, hey, did you also check in on Wendy? Like, you're expecting her to check in on you. Did you check in on her? And, maybe she had something going on with her kids and so you shouldn't judge. That seemed to have upset and pissed Kiana off. And she used a word with Wendy, basically saying she had to chin check her. I don't think I've ever used that phrase. I think I've heard that phrase before, but like hearing the phrase, hearing when she said chin checked, you know what I mean? To me, it's kind of like she had to put her back in her place, like to say, know your place. I brought you on this show. You're supposed to be my backbone and ride for me. And the two of us are supposed to gang up against Wendy. When she said the word chin check, that's basically what I heard. I was like, oh, okay. So this is your, this is your piece to kind of come into the group, and they're supposed to back you up, and the two of you are going to basically ride against Wendy. That's basically what I heard. And so Giselle was like, oh, you chin checked her. Like, oh, damn. Like, okay, that's a pretty aggressive. Like, you putting bitches in their place. Like, you know what I mean? You're putting people in their place. Like, who are you? But basically, she reiterated that to Giselle. And so Giselle was like, kind of shocked. Now, fast forward to. Okay, so fast forward now. All the ladies are together. They're at, I believe, Angel's house doing some sort of yoga cleansing. You know, the ladies are always trying to cleanse the demons. Because, they're always in some sort of conflict. So they're at her house, and of course, Giselle brings up the chin check. And this is obviously news to Angel. She's like, chin check? She's like, what do you mean? Because she's like, chin check means like, you know what I mean? Angel knows what chin check means. And chin check literally means that you put me in my place. You know what I mean? You told me to step down, like, bow down, bitches, basically is what you told her. And of course, Angel's kind of like, I'm that girl. I'm that girl. Ain't nobody gonna check me. Like, not with those aggressive words. Like, that's not it. Oh, sorry. That's in a later episode. I apologize. Angel's like, what are you talking about? We're good. She's like, what do you mean, chin check? She would never use that language on me. Like, she would never say that about me. And Kiana's kind of like basically like, oh, yeah, sorry. That's, not what I meant. You know what I mean? Because apparently Angel is kind of taken aback as to like, why would she ever say that? Why would my friend say that about me? To me? Like, why would she say that about me to someone else? We don't have that friendship. But later on in the episode, you find out, yeah, you do. All right, so that being said and done, Kiana apologizes. She's like, yeah, Giselle said I said that, so I apologize. And of course, Angel's words are, we don't chin check each other. We chin check other bitches. Okay. All right, so now we are entering episode 3. And episode 3 opens up with Stacy and her beautiful daughter. And it looks like Stacy is getting her daughter into pageantry, and I was like, oh, this is cute. She's there with her walking coach. And we get just to see a little beautiful interaction, and then they FaceTime daddy. Or they FaceTime her dad, and it's cute. And then we go on to see Kiana again. Oh, Lord Jesus, this Kiana. Okay, as they reference her, and she's having another talk with Wendy. At this point in time, I feel bad for Wendy, because Wendy can't dead this situation if her life depended on it. She's just like, I just want this to be dead. She's like, I don't even get it. And I'm not Wendy. I don't even get it. It's so annoying. So she's there talking to Wendy, and she's trying to let Wendy know, that she just felt that she wasn't really there for her, outside of the show, and that Wendy didn't really show up for her. And Wendy's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I was the only person there for you. Like, I reached out to you. And then it becomes this thing where she's talking about her hosting. And, the party that they were invited to, I think it was NCPA? Oh, NWC? Oh, I can't remember the organization. But apparently, Wendy was invited by, I think it was the First Lady of, is it Maryland? Or something like that. Anyways, there's like a conflicting schedule. I believe, oh, I think it's the NAACP Awards. Yes. And so she brings that up, and Wendy's kind of explaining, she's like, well, it was conflicting because of her kids and they were sick. And so she wasn't sure she was going to go. And then she went. And Wendy was like, I was a speaker at the event. You know what I mean? And so Kiana is basically upset with Wendy because Wendy did not, she's like, how Wendy didn't acknowledge her enough at the event. And I guess, like, you know, as we would say, big up your friend at the event, okay? And I'm just kind of I'm thinking, I don't know if Kierna was expecting Wendy to be on stage and be like, I want to see my friend Kierna, hey girl! And because I'm like, that would have been so inappropriate. It's like not the time or place. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm not too sure what type of interaction Kierna was expecting, but she expected some sort of acknowledgement from Wendy during the time that Wendy was literally hosting. So Wendy's kind of just like, I'm going to shut this nonsense down because I don't know what you're talking about. That is impossible, okay? Like that would never have happened. That would never have transpired. But Kiana is not letting it go, and she's basically saying that, she expected more. Then she says at, the Bloom event on season 1 from Ashley's event that Wendy was like basically ignoring her. And so Wendy goes on to further explain that she was in a conversation with Giselle. How could she have ignored her? Like, she's literally sitting down on the couch talking to somebody. And she's like, and Kiana proceeds to say how, oh, she's not giving her the same energy. You're ignoring me. Like, you didn't say hi to me. She's basically insinuating that Wendy is not like being like a friend to her. Mind you, Wendy is still confused because she's like, what? Wendy's like, huh? Wendy's like, and it's so funny because then Kiana goes on to say that you don't even like Giselle. And of course, Wendy and Giselle have had their own little beef, but they have gone past that, and they're cordial, and they're talking, they're friends now. But it's just so funny that at this instant when Kiana and Wendy are interacting, Wendy does something that is very, I find it like similar to people who are just kind of like, they're so kind of like above the nonsense. They see the person for like who they are, and so Wendy starts laughing, and she starts laughing. She's like, and her just the way that she's looking at her, because she just knows this is so preposterous. This is she's just like, this woman has gone above and beyond to find a problem with me. She's like, I don't have a problem with you. I'm not trying to do anything to you. She's like, I am here for you. And you are constantly trying to find a problem with me. And she's just laughing at her because at this point in time, you're just like, there's a saying, you can't argue with stupid people. Or, you know what I mean? You can't argue with people who don't see reason. You know what I mean? So the Wendy going back and forth with her, she's just kind of like, at this point, it's absolutely pointless. It's absolutely pointless because you just want to see what you want to see, and there's nothing there, and you're literally grasping at straws to try and get like Wendy riled up, or try and get Wendy to say something, or pinpoint this type of narrative that is just not there. But anyways, they end their talk, and because of Wendy's laugh, Kiana's like, I'm not doing this with you. Like, I'm leaving. So she leaves, and they leave, and all the better. At this point, it's kind of like Kiana is in a separate world in her head, and whatever is going on in the real world, it's different from what she sees. All right, so then, we get to see Kiana. I'm sorry, we get to see Angel and her husband talking. in their house, and she updates her husband about the whole chin check issue. And she was like, she's like, how it's been really discerning that Kay would use this language, that she would use this verbiage, because, they're friends. And why would she use that type of language, you know, against her to describe the situation? So she wants to address it, and so she tells her husband that she's going to address it with her. Then we get to see cut to Stacy and Jessie, and I totally forgot about Jessie actually, because Jessie was on last season. We do get to see her and Jessie kind of get down for dinner and talk a little bit. Jessie is also getting married, and her partner also is in the NFL. And of course, they talk about how they're going to an event by Kiana. I think it's a Preakness event. Just kind of like a meet and greet or drinks before they go to the Derby. And the Derby is like, with the horses. Yeah, then we have like Giselle has invited some of the ladies out to go shopping. She invites Wendy, Angel, and Tia. And she also tells them about the trip that she wants to invite them to, and she wants to invite them to the Caribbean, and they're going to go to Nevis. Okay, now during this time that they're in there and they're shopping, Angel now brings up the whole chin check business. Okay. And she lets them know that they had a conversation on the phone, and Kiana basically says that she doesn't remember the conversation that way of her using the word chin check, and basically saying she never said it. So of course Giselle's like, no, because now you're making me a liar. You definitely said it, sis. You said it. And so Angel basically says how she's going to address this now with Kiana, because she's not that girl, and that's not her verbiage, and why would she ever use that verbiage given her previous situation that happened, and what she's basically stating is given Kiana's previous assault case with her being attacked. So she's saying, why would you use such an aggressive word given that you were like attacked? Which I thought she should not have brought that up. I thought that was very distasteful. Like, just say that you don't like that word because of what it means to you, and that you're going to address it with her. But she had a very like energy that says like, oh, I'm going to bring it up and I'm going to let her know that, like, to say like she doesn't appreciate that, and she's going to talk to her and bring it up to the table as that she should never say that. So now we get to Kiana's Preakness event, okay? And all the ladies are dressed up in their, best derby attire. But there's something very off about Kiana. I don't know what it is. I don't know if she's like feeling herself this season. She's really throwing her weight around. She really is kind of throwing her weight around. So anyways, we see all the ladies gathering at her place. Her boyfriend does show up, and I think her mother is there as well. And so all the ladies have come in. They're excited for the drinks, excited for the appetizers, because I love a good gathering. I love a good gathering of like brunch and eating and mimosas, and that's basically what they're doing. Now, that being said, that doesn't last too long before, they get into the drama. And of course, leave it to Kiana to start it. And she literally has to start with, of course, her issue with Wendy, and um, lets the ladies know that Wendy has to be, what did she use? Best, better. Oh, first, better, best. That was it. First, better, best. I'm basically just saying that, like, I think in her mind, she thinks that Wendy thinks she's better than her or something like that, just because, like, they're both kind of working the same event. And, Wendy was like, well, I was invited by the First Lady of Maryland. So, and then Kiana's like, okay, well, like, I'm also doing this event for the Derby. But in my mind, I feel like Kiana thinks that, like, does she think that Wendy thinks of her as competition? Because there are some women who truly believe that they're in competition with you. And so I really hope that she doesn't think that Wendy Osefo thinks of Kiana as competition. I really hope she doesn't. Because like, women like Wendy don't think of competition. They're going to rise regardless of whomever's in the room. And that's how you should be, whether you're in your friendship, but in your own life, just in general as a woman. Girl, shine and let your friends shine. Like, we are not competition. So that comment, it was just like, okay, clearly she's still on Wendy. But Wendy was like, okay, whatever. That doesn't make any sense. Like, what do you want me to tell you? I was invited by somebody, and um, I don't have an issue with you. I don't see that there's a problem. And of course, Stacy points it out that there seems to be some sort of competitiveness. And I was like, oh, okay, Stacy, you see it. Good job on you. Glad you mentioned it. And of course, Kiana still can't let it go. Kiana still can't let it go. And then you can also see, like, Kiana's mom in the background, kind of making facial gestures. And, you know, it kind of seemed like she was about to jump in if things went left. And I was like, oh, Lord, y'all need to remove your mamas out of this. Please and thank you. Remove your mamas out of this. But Kiana's not having. And then Giselle kind of brings up this whole chin check thing again because, well, rightly so, because she's like, you're making me seem to be out a liar when you actually did say this. And so now they're looking at Angel because Angel said that she was going to address it and that it was going to be a problem. And then we see Angel's true colors. And something transpires at this brunch that's very telling about the relationship, because Angel proceeds to double down about the way she basically felt. Like, she doesn't have the same energy. She literally turns into a mouse. Kiana proceeds to tell her, like, and it aggressively too, like in a tone that's like, well, I've already apologized, and like to say that should be the end of it. Like, don't open up your mouth again. And I'm literally watching this, looking at the situation, I'm like, who's she talking to? Is she talking to you like that, Angel? Angel, are you letting her talk to you like that? Madness. I was like, oh. I was like, you have something on Angel. You must have something on her. Because the way she ran with her tail between her legs, like, and then she just ends up switching up. She ends up switching up completely. So basically, after she says, like, she apologized and that should be the end of it, Wendy's like, what is this kind of energy? She's like, you didn't have the same energy in the store. And, like, in the store, you basically made it seem like you were going to, like, address her. You were going to let her know that she should never use that verbiage, like, against you. You were going to let her know that you were standing on business. And here you are, not standing on business. What is that? What's happening here? What is transpiring? Like, Wendy is shocked because Wendy's picking up on that. I mean, I'm picking up on it. I'm just like, what is the dynamic of your relationship? And all I can think of is like, you guys have had a separate conversation, and the conversation was, you're supposed to have my back, and we're supposed to tag team against Wendy. But also on top of that, I think she has something on Angel. She must have some sort of tea, some sort of juiciness that Angel does not want to be revealed. Because after Wendy had pointed this out, Kiarna basically shut her down and said, listen, we've had a conversation and I don't ever want you ever to talk about this again. I was like, okay, Don Kiarna. Okay, Don. Okay. I was, I was like, okay, Don. This is how you talk to people? Because Angel was like, okay, yes, master. Okay. It's like, what? And then she immediately goes into attack mode against Wendy. And I was like, what? And I was like, oh, you little lamb, you little sheep. You little sheep. I'm like, you can't think for yourself. So whatever Kiarna says goes, and you just need to follow because you cannot think for yourself. So she seems to be following Kiarna's lead here. And so now it's the two of them against Wendy. And Kiana's just like, do you like this lady? Do you even like her? Do you like her? And Angel's like up against Wendy now. Angel doesn't like Wendy now. It seems like in terms of the Kiarna and Angel, friendship, Kiarna is the boss, and Angel better fall in line. As the season progresses, it really is Angel is Kiarna's side chick. Sorry, sidekick. I said side chick. She is the sidekick. It used to be, who's it? Oh my gosh. It used to be Giselle and Robin. And Robin was basically Giselle's sidekick. But this dynamic is even like worse because Kiarna is, I hate to use the word aggressive, but she's really forthcoming with her tone towards Angel. And she really just, to me, like, be putting her in her place. Like she's telling her, I got you here. Don't open up your mouth against me. I'm hoping that's not, I'm hoping, Angel finds her backbone and comes into her own. And, I feel like something is going to be revealed about their relationship. Something is brewing and transpiring. And I really want to get to the bottom of it because it's very, 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 very telling in this episode, especially them gang up on Wendy. The water isn't clean. Okay, so this is the end of the Real Housewives of Potomac episodes 1 through 3. Stay tuned for the other upcoming episodes. I just want to say, if you listen to this all the way through, thank you so much. This is my first time and I'm still new to this. I'm trying to get the hang of doing videos like this on my channel and just posting daily. So if you're interested in seeing more of this, please subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know of any tips and tricks that can improve my content, and I appreciate you for just taking the time to even listen. See you next time.